So the first two cards here, going with the energy that I mentioned before, it seems to me like this is basically getting everything that you want, getting everything that you need, and getting it in a way where it propels you to the next evolution, the next stage of your life. This is going to be a very, very busy month. You're starting something brand new and you're kind of hitting the ground running. Okay. So I feel many of you switching jobs, many of you switching into a new environment, many of you having to like pick up technical information that, you know how if you've been in a work environment, right? And you've been there for a really long time. Everybody speaks in acronyms because, you know, they truncate information, or they assume that everyone knows what they're talking about, or they assume that everyone is on the same page. So there's a lot of acronyms thrown around. There's a lot of information thrown around, and you're going to have to absorb massive amounts of information. So this is a card overall about people assuming that somebody already knows it, and so they might like gloss over the way they explain things, or they might gloss over, you know, not having to explicate in depth all the information that you need to know. So I feel that there is major momentum happening for you, but absorbing new information is going to be a huge challenge, because it feels like, honestly, you guys are really, really ambitious. And when you stay in a place, you try to be the best person, be the outstanding, you know, technical expert at that location. And so this is a month where you're going to have to begin anew. You're going to have to rebuild. You're going to have to establish yourself, and you're going to have to learn new things that you might not have been exposed to in the past. And you're going to have to do it. And, you know, no one likes to be at the bottom of the totem pole learning things again, right? So I do see some type of, for many of you, software changes, new programs that are being implemented, and you're gonna feel out of place as to how to operate the system, how to, I want to say like incorporate it, or how to learn it. So there's going to be a little bit of quiet time, learning, reviewing, researching, trying to figure things out in terms of like self-help, you know, like, okay, how do I do this? How do I spend my time reviewing the information so that I have a little bit of a leg up ahead of other people who are not taking the extra time to learn things. So I feel like for some of you, it's like having to do something again, having to relearn a system. And I feel like there's a lot of technical things that you have to absorb. There's also, in a new work environment, it can feel as if you're going to be very busy. This is a card about having leisure time, money, prosperity at your disposal, where you can kind of slack off, look around, and, you know, really enjoy yourself, like feeling very comfortable, feeling like you're in the flow of the moment. And with this Nine of Pentacles and the Empress card in the reverse position, this is hugely about, you know, feeling a little bit out of sorts, feeling like you need to adjust to your environment, feeling that it's going to take some time to adjust, but feeling nevertheless prosperity, abundance in your environment at your disposal. But it's just not going to be coming just yet. This is a month where you're adjusting to something new, something that you might have, like, you know, been really good at in the past. You might have left that behind, started a new location, started a new job, started a new environment, working in a new environment. And you're going to feel that you're going to have to start from the bottom. It's not going to take you very long to get there, honestly, Aries, because I feel like when you are committed and set on a course of action, you're going to get there very, very quickly. Okay. So it's not going to be like a month-long, year-long, you know, process. It's going to be very fast, but I feel that you might need to give yourself a little bit of slack. Don't be too hard on yourself, okay? This combination as well indicates a lot of spending, okay? Could be extravagant spending as well. So if you have a tendency to do that, you know, try to curb your spending, because I feel like you might be stressed out in a new work environment and you might succumb to emotional spending, buying things for its appearance rather than its use value. So it doesn't serve any function in your life, but you're buying it and you're spending an exorbitant amount of money on it. And you might need that money at a later time, or that money might be better spent in a different, you know, avenue. I'm also feeling for many of you, this isn't an investment card here. Somebody's coming to you and giving you some advice when it comes to like investment. And I do see insider information. Okay. This is hugely about investment, making your money work for you. And so they might tell you a success story. They might tell you, I did this and look at all I was able to achieve. And so you're doing a little bit of research into this situation and you're trying to emulate, you're trying to follow in their footsteps so that you can get yourself to that place of abundance through investment, through making your money work for you. And I feel like many of you, you might not be in a position where you have a huge sum of money to invest in, different things, to diversify your portfolios. And so you have a limited amount of money and you're just like, I really need to make this one work. In the past, maybe you were led astray. And so I feel like, it's kind of like this time you're being a lot more careful. You're being a lot more meticulous about doing your proper research. You're being a lot more, I want to say like, you scrutinize the information that's coming through because you have been duped in the past or because you rushed into something too fast, too quickly in the past. And now you're learning from your mistakes. So you're starting to do like, it's like a do-over. It's like, okay, that happened. I've learned from it. Now I need to move on and I need to diversify or I need to invest wisely. Okay. We also have here as well with the Ace of Wands. This is a big housing card. Okay. The Ace of Wands in the reverse, I'm also sensing for many of you, there might be a sense of like, they say like discomfort, but I feel like it's not so much discomfort. It's just that you want something new. So I feel like for whatever reason, your housing environment, it's not really satisfying anymore. So you might have lived, and it could be at no fault of the housing environment. It could be you're in the same neighborhood for years and years and years. And you're just like, I want something new. I don't want to go back to this neighborhood. I don't want to live here anymore. And I don't feel like there are major changes in the neighborhood. It's just you want something new. You want to, you might want to downsize. You might be on the older end of the spectrum where your mobility is limited. And so you're thinking this big house with, stairs leading to the second floor, third floor is really not serving its purpose in my life anymore because my mobility is kind of restricted. So you might want to downsize. You might want to, think about getting a smaller property, smaller house, but bigger lot, for example. You might also feel like I'm done mingling and, being the life of the party. I want to settle down in the countryside. I want to have a big property and I want to have a small house that is a little bit more manageable. So I feel a lot of you are just like things that you used to love, things that you used to, find a lot of emotional fulfillment in. They're not really serving their purpose in your life anymore. You don't want that extravagant, opulent social life. You want a little quieter affair. And I feel many of you are really thinking about like, where can I cut my expenditure so that I can increase my savings? Where can I find a lot more emotional fulfillment by having less, being like more minimalist, being able to get rid of things that you don't need in order to have a simpler life, in order to feel like, to feel less physical baggage in your life. Okay. So a major process of letting go, a major process of what relationship is not really working and how can I let that go and find something that really emotionally nurtures me. I'm feeling for many of you, this is kind of like a process where I'm sensing many of you are in your 40s watching this. Okay. And in particular, I feel like women, females watching this who are in their 40s, it's kind of like when you were, in your teenage years, when you were in your 20s, and you're just like, okay, by 40, this is what my life is going to look like. And then some of you might be in your 40s watching this. You might be divorced. You might no longer have that title associated with your name. You thought you would be married. And then, the relationships that you're kind of like bumbling around in. I feel like you might have had a few relationships, and you realize as well that relationships might have been very fun, but there was like zero stability and zero compatibility with you and, you know, the relationship partners. And then as a result of it, you want something a little bit more real. You want something a little bit more tangible. This is the month where this starts to dawn on you, where you're just like having some major epiphanies about, yes, my career is going really well, but what about my love life? What about my emotional life? Am I neglecting a few people, or have I neglected a few things in the process of building up my empire? And for what? You know, so this internal process of re-examining your life, where you thought it would be, you know, 20 years ago versus where it is now. And so there's major reassessment. There's major changes that needs to happen from your end. And I'm also feeling as well, this is a big process where I feel many of you are at a new job, starting over. You don't like that feeling. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You're leaving some people that you really love and care about in your previous work environment. You're leaving them behind, but you're moving on to something that is going to give you a lot of movement, a lot of like opportunities to climb that corporate ladder, a lot of opportunities as well to build wealth, to generate new wealth, to learn new skills, and you are exactly where you need to be, okay? So despite that sense of emotional and physical displacement, like, oh man, I have to start from scratch, or I have to make new friends again, or I have to, you know, figure out the new city, figure out a new location, figure out where the people are hanging out, figuring out where I do my groceries. I see a lot of new things that are in store, and you're just like, I have to start from scratch, and you don't like that. You know, do a little bit of a paradigm shift, because I feel like this opportunity is once in a lifetime. It is something that is definitely meant for you. It's expansion, right? With the Wheel of Fortune, it's going to give you the most of it depending on the energy that you put in. Whatever you put in, you're going to be able to multiply, and you're going to be able to achieve a lot of prosperity and a lot of wealth. You're going to be able to achieve a lot of movement as well. But it's just the process of having to relearn things, redo, start over. That can seem a little bit frustrating, especially because you are very end results oriented. You want to know how to get from A to B without, you know, having to go through the tedious process of learning all the intermediate steps in between. And this is the month where it's telling you you have to do that. But I feel like, you know, with that paradigm shift, just think this is a new opportunity. You've done many things in the past where you thought you wouldn't get through it, and you did. So this is not going to be any different. Okay. Slow down. Don't be so hard on yourself this month, Aries. I feel like the energy is very watery. And water emotions for a fire sign is very difficult to deal with, because there's a lot of internal re-examination. And I also feel like relationships as well are coming to the forefront. And relationships where you had a very big emotional investment in another person. It could be friendships. I feel a lot of friendships. It's like your girlfriends, you know, your clan, your base, the people that you feel really comfortable around, the people that give you a lot of support. You might move to a new location, and that is not in the picture anymore. But it's also telling you as well, you know, draw back your energy, focus on this, focus on where you need to be, where you need to go, and focus on longer term things, bigger things. Okay. So this too shall pass. I feel like you're in a new place and you're uncomfortable. You're a little bit shy, and that's not you. And you feel a little bit like, oh, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to succeed? And yes, success is pretty much guaranteed. Okay. So, you know, life doesn't give us things that we cannot handle. All right. So just keep that mantra in mind as you progress through this month. You are really strong and courageous. And I also feel as well, it's just the technical information that you have to absorb. It's like the communication, the absorbing information, the research, the solitary work that you have to do on your own that you don't like, because I feel like you are extroverted, you are other oriented. And so if you're in a new place, you might need to, you know, get down to the rudimentary things and have to study on your own, for example. And that kind of, it makes it difficult. It's almost like I'm spending all this time by myself to absorb this new information. I don't have time for leisure. I don't have time to go, you know, go out, go shopping, be seen and heard, and be in an environment where I can be, attract attention, or I can be like, appreciated or admired. And so it seems to me like it's a very busy month. There's a lot of errands you need to run. Be careful about driving, always with Aries people. And I'm also feeling a lot of new friendships are going to be on the horizon for you, okay? It's going to be there, but you need to do a little bit more work first to get yourself situated and get yourself comfortable before new people can be in the picture.